Like it's just crazy.
Well, so what we're doing there really is bringing the spin down too,
Yeah.
right? Like you almost have too much spin on your wedges,
Okay.
right? Which yeah, everyone thinks that's a good thing, but you actually want to bring the spin down a little bit so you get that kind of one hop and then stop on the green, as opposed to maybe when you get it up in the air a little bit, even when you hit it solid, the wind will knock it around a little bit.
Comes right back.
Yeah,
like it's crazy how many, like, I can literally have a perfect number with it, but because it's going so high and spinning so much, like my ball's ripping back, and I'm like, I have uncontrollable spin.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know what it's gonna do.
Yeah. So let's try that again. So set up to it, get that forward press going. So get the hands forward. And I just want you to, just a couple takeaway drills. Just go back halfway and stop. Try to get under my club.
Okay. Like that.
Yeah, like that. Good. Do it again. Good. And then let it go. Just try and feel that. Nice. Good. Heard this from, I think it was Paul Azinger, and said the mark of a good ball striker is someone who get their wedges low and their long irons high. Which you actually want to drive your wedges a little bit lower. Like if you look at, to me, one of the best wedge players of all time, Lee Trevino, like he really held on the angle, didn't get it really over his shoulder, and just kept everything wide and low, right? And he pretty much just picked everything perfect. Because you already have enough speed, dude, right? It's almost like we need to take off the speed a little bit. And an easy way to take off the speed is to shorten it all up. Beauty there. Yep, good. Nice.
Almost all arms right there. I don't care.
Yeah.
We don't really care where it goes at the moment. I just.
Well, I love what you're saying there, all arms. Like a good visual for you would be like Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah.
Right? Like just that pendulum feeling.
Yeah.
The whole way back and through.
And is that almost when you're focusing on those wedges within 110, 100? Like I always have the feeling where I do keep those arms straight and like it's like a pendulum, like you're saying, but kind of rotating that chest through.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes I'm just kind of like arms.
Yeah.
And I don't have good contact, or maybe I do, but I pull it.
Yeah, you definitely want more of a rotational feel.
Yeah.
Here, I'll step in and hit one here. Like this would be, I'll hit my 56 about 110, 115 in that range.
Yeah.
You know, if I really wanted to, I could hit this 120, but it just, the spin gets out of control.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's 125, sometimes it's 110.
Yeah.
And if you get it up above the tree line, it's just spinny as ever, right? So this would be pretty much what a full swing wedge would look like for me. So I really lock out my arms, get that press forward, even the weight forward a bit. But you'll see how short and compact the swing is. And that's going to go probably about 110. One hop, stop.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty simple. You can see how short that backswing was.
Like so short, but it still goes.
Came out compressed, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they are a little bit more like this coming into impact, right? But I don't think it's so much the hips that's the problem. It's the way you're using your legs. So a good little feel that I personally used to help me get my hips more open was actually feeling it in the knee, right? So it's simple kinetic chain stuff, right? Like if I can feel my left knee as I'm coming down snap straight a little bit more, then you can almost see, sometimes even go deeper from toe to heel, right? And get that pressure going a little early, right? Because, you know, I don't want you to just think spin the hips open, because then you're probably going to fall back. I think that's a big misconception.
Yeah, that's
and it does come from have you ever read the Ben Hogan book of, like the book of lessons, the 5 lessons?
No.
So it's kind of like it's like the founding 5 lessons that modern instruction has been built on, right? I think it's 5 lessons. But anyways, Hogan always talked about kind of like spinning the hips open, right? Which that was his feel that worked for him. But when we give that to golfers, it typically means that they don't shift their body and they end up just kind of spinning backwards and getting the hips open like
almost
this. Almost baseball-like, right? So if we
right?
use ground force and get that feeling of going more toe to heel, right?
Yeah.
More this way. So by the time you're, even before impact, you'll see how the most athletic NCAA golfers is they're already straight. So they're in this look here where they're halfway down and that leg is snapped straight and the hips just open naturally.
Gotcha. Right?
So it's a complex one to drill, but yeah, even just that feeling there of just letting that left knee snap backwards. Okay?
Yeah.
You can try that a couple times, okay? It's one of those things that, like, it's a really good winter project for you to do. Like, will it make you play better tomorrow? Probably not.
Yeah.
It'll probably make you actually play worse. And that's why some drills are better to just do over a long period of time.
Yeah.
I liked how you did that nice and soft. That was good. Yeah. I mean, if you look at most of the best players in the world, right around impact, their left leg is snapping straight.
Yeah.
That looks nice. Good. I think it's also you want to be careful with that movement because you know as someone who's a fitness enthusiast and an athlete, like locking out that pretty much at a high rate of speed, you're going to hyperextend the knee a little bit, right?
Yeah,
So
I almost feel that when I'm doing it. You know
mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like sometimes I exaggerate it when I'm playing because I know that's the feeling you want.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, man, it just doesn't look right.
Sometimes,
yeah. Right? But
well, there are a few guys on tour that don't do it. Like if you look at on Live Tour, Jason Kokrak, big guy, big powerful guy.
Yeah.
He comes through the ball in a little bit more of a slide. Like Jack Nicklaus was more of like a slider, more knees bent, right? And it's not, definitely good to work on for the long term, but it's not like a non-negotiable that you have to have your hips looking at the target.
Mm-hmm.
If that was the case, then no senior tours would ever shoot in the 60s. And you look at most of the senior guys and they don't have the mobility anymore.
Yeah.
But I think it's good for you to work on because you have the strength and the mobility to actually do it,
at this
right?
Point,
yeah. I do love those divots though, man. They're getting a lot cleaner, right?
I actually noticed that before I even took that swing. I was just like, look at these, and then
a lot more straight, a lot more shallow.
Yeah.
So we call dollar bill divots, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Clubs well.
Mm-hmm.
I almost take a smaller stance because I feel like when I'm so wide, I have like no mobility.
Makes sense.
It creates that slice, or I chunk it and I hook it and this and that. So I almost like go smaller.
Yeah.
And I just take it back less.
I like that. I mean, you know what that reminds me of? Tom Watson talked about that. Is he would always say that his wedge is going to go back to here.
Yeah.
His 6-iron will go there, and his 3-iron will go there.
Yeah.
So you'd actually shorten it a little bit. Because really, like you're going to pick up more speed because the club is a lot longer, a lot less loft, right? So I think the big mistake most people make with their long irons is they try and hit them like their driver.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, a good mental thought you could even think of too, outside of the technical stuff, is feeling like your 3-iron is your pitching wedge, your 4-iron is your pitching wedge, right? That's something that I'll mentally say to myself on the golf course. And I'm like, okay, well, if this feels like my pitching wedge, just make your wedge swing.
Yeah.
A little shorter, a little more compact. I like the stance more narrow too, because when you get too wide, you can't push off of that back foot.
Yeah.
And then you get stuck. And then as soon as that attack angle goes, you're dead. Right?
I feel really immobile when I just have like a very like big stance or like strong stance, I'd say.
Right.
With those irons.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I narrow it out, it actually makes me focus on taking it back a little shorter and just letting the club do the work.
Okay, I like that.
Hit them well.
Now, are your with your long irons, do you get more divots, or like are you not getting divots? What's the divots like?
They're almost like not even divots. It's kind of like just a punch into the ground where I barely. It's almost like the tee makes the divot. Like if I were to tee the tee would make the divot. If I were to do it off the deck, it would just be clippings of grass taken, or maybe a little something like that.
So you're not getting like the same divots as you would with like a 7-iron or a wedge or those wedges we were just hitting.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind because I want you to. We're probably going to get you to feel like a little more pressure forward.
Okay.
Now it's not perfect numbers, but if we look at the TrackMan metrics of what average tour pros will do,
yeah.
their average 3-iron's about -3 degrees down with the attack angle, and the wedge is -5. Right. So there's only about a 2-degree difference in attack angle. From 3-iron to wedge. So now, really again, not perfect stats, but it's enough for us to go off and to say that, hey, we should hit our long irons more like our wedge.
Gotcha. Okay.
More punchy, hitting down on it.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So let's